guys, welcome to my channel. Welcome if you are new. My name is Heather. I'm a homeschooling mom of 3 kids, elementary, middle/high school, and high school age. Today I'm going to be sharing my January goals progress as well as what I have on tap for February. So let's get started. Oh goodness, this video is going up so late, and it is February 6th when I'm going through this. You'll have to excuse the band-aid. I had a bit of a potato peeling incident last night, so that's why I have that on. January was really good. February has not started off great. And actually, January started off really great and then kind of petered out towards the end of the month. Now, my monthly reset day was early in January. It's usually the fourth or last Thursday of the month is when I do my monthly reset. And it just happened to be the 25th of January this past month. And that was very early to do my goals. So I didn't do my goals on the 25th because I still had many days of January still left. And so I wanted to wait and then do my goals later, but I just never got to my goals. And I think part of the reason is because I have had to readjust some things just based on being back in homeschool. And I think that I tend to forget how much time homeschooling takes during our weeks. And then I tend to play catch up on household tasks and stuff on the weekends. And so I don't have as much time to work on goals during the months as I sometimes expect to have. And that is just something, it's actually part of the reason that I wanted to consider my time blocks and adjust for the season. I have done that. I do feel really good about how January went though. So let's go over it before I get into putting February together, which is still a little up in the air. It's going to be a fun experience for everybody. For decluttering, I did quite a bit. I did the kids' rooms, the kids' clothes. I did not start on the basement, which I thought that I would do. I also did not do the pantry, which I thought I would do. And I also did not do the filing cabinet. That is okay. I also didn't do my finance meeting with Matt. Like, I envisioned sitting down and going through our entire year and making a plan and stuff like that. But we've had a bunch of different conversations, little conversations here and there. We do have somewhat of a plan, but it's very loose at the moment. And I think after we get through tax season, we'll probably be able to sit down and have a little bit more time to understand what we have coming up this year. I did go through and do my TBR. I did do a goals TBR video, which I will leave linked in the description box. And these are all books that I'm reading in relation to my goals, most likely for the first quarter. I don't read as many goal related books once we get into the second quarter and beyond. It's usually the first and the fourth quarter of the year is when I tend to want to read a lot of productivity books or books specific to my goals for the year. But I did do the TBR, and I actually just posted a video Monday about the books that I read in January. If you're interested in that, I will definitely leave a link for it. Simplify, I did consider this a lot. I really liked how I did this break it down page for January. I do not know how it is going to work for February, but we will see. I think that's part of the challenge of filming these when I'm filming it with you, because I do have a process, but February, I feel like February is a little bit different this year. The tech detox, I think this was a big part of January for me. I did unfollow and unsubscribe from a lot of things on social media. I read the TechWise family. I have not read the My TechWise Life with my kids yet. That will be either this month or in March. I considered the 1 hour a day, 1 day a week, 1 week a year. I have started to implement Sabbath rest, and I've started to think a lot about screen and app limits. I've done a lot of blog posts this month or in January about tech detox, my feelings surrounding technology, how I kind of deal with it, some of the improvements that I want to make. You'll see a lot of that bleed over into February as well. It's something that I plan to consider for quite a while, I think, really figuring out what I want my life to look like, what I want my kids' lives to look like. It's easier for me to say a complete no to something than to try and balance. But with technology, it's obviously more challenging because so many aspects of our lives are interconnected with technology. If the kids need to communicate about sports, it's on Facebook or on a Team Reach app. It's, if there's a birthday party, there's a Facebook event. If there's something going on with church, there's some sort of an Instagram post or something like that. So it's a little challenging to break away from it when that is the mode of communication that most people use. We'll see how it goes. It's also challenging because we utilize technology a lot in our homeschool, as well as the kids' passion projects, my work, everything is online. So it's a little bit of a challenge, but I had a really good time going through that in January. I will leave some links to some blog posts that I've written. I've kind of resurrected my website a little bit. I haven't been writing as much on Townsend House for the past couple of years, because I kind of felt like I had written everything already. I've shared so much about homeschooling. I've shared so much about urban homesteading and all kinds of goal-related posts and stuff. I kind of felt like I didn't have anything else to say. But I am revisiting a lot of things now, and so I will leave those posts for you in the description if you're interested in taking some time to read. They're not too long. So let's go through the tending list. First, my encouraging words. There's nothing magical about January 1st. I'm really happy about that. Reset and simplify, that was good. I did all of my planner setups. I have videos for all of those. I did do our 6-week homeschool plan. I did my TBR. We did not do vision boards this year. I talked about that, I think, in one of my plan with me, is that I had wanted to do vision boards, but in the fall I got rid of all the extra magazines that we had in our house, and that makes doing vision boards a little more challenging. And I don't let my kids just go on and Google for pictures, so that was not something that we ended up doing. We did kind of sit down and talk about some goals that the kids have for the year, my older two specifically, so we kind of did that, but in a non-vision board way. I did my end of year reports. Again, I didn't have that finance meeting with my husband. Declutter, I gave myself credit for a lot of it because I did do quite a bit of decluttering in the house. I did my 1 bag a day project every day in January. And in fact, I think I'm going to put that down for February as well. I do not know why we have so much stuff in the house that's easy to get rid of. Well, I think a lot of it is because my kids do a lot of art and drawing, and they create their own like board games and things like that. So there ends up being a lot of clutter around the house that can be gotten rid of periodically. So that's probably part of it. But I am enjoying my decluttering, and I think that there's going to be a lot more as we move, into the spring and the sun is out later and I'm a little more motivated to do things. Tech detox, I did a lot about that. I already talked about it. Simplify, rule of life, I did consider that a lot. 2 of the books that I am reading in relation to this, I read one of them in January and one I DNF'd at about 50%, not because I don't like the book and it was actually a reread for me, but because I only had it available on audio and I really want a physical copy so that I can sit down and take notes. So I am still working on that, but I did give myself credit for everything that I wanted to consider for January. I did my monthly reset and I have already posted that. I posted it in the month of January, which is something that I'm going to try and do this year, is to post my monthly resets in the same month or around the same time that I do the monthly reset for the current month. And the reason that I haven't in the past is because I've shared a lot more personal details about what I'm actually doing. And obviously I'm not going to do that a month ahead of time. So I have had to adjust what I'm sharing in the vlog, but I'm still going through and sharing my process and the different things that I'm focusing on each month. I will leave a link for that in the description box as well. Considering the time blocks and adjust for the season, I did do that. There is still some adjustments to be made, and I will talk about that in just a second. Weekly planning, I actually did do that every week. I did the weekly project the first week in January, and then we started homeschool and I did not do it at all. Homeschool planning, I did actually do every week. Spend tracking, I did the last 4 weeks. I was still doing reporting the first week, so I didn't really do spend tracking then. Monday meeting, I did. Kids journals, I only did 1 week, and that will bleed into my AM routine chat in just a second. This is part of my legacy goal. I just didn't have as much time as I had hoped. Update book journal, notes and quotes. I did that every single week. I'm really happy about how much I am taking notes in my book journal this year. It is something that I'm really trying to focus on to make sure that I'm writing reviews more for nonfiction books, not as much for fiction books unless it's something that I really, really love. But usually if it's a fiction book that I really love, my review is, this is a great book. Definitely come back and reread it if you're in a reading slump. But notes and quotes, I'm very academic when I read nonfiction. I like to take a lot of notes, write, quotes from specific pages, take references that people have put in the books and go and read those references at a later time. I don't know. I really enjoy that. Okay, so for my daily habits, I had my morning routine, tier 2. I do have a whole video on my 3-tier morning routine. I started out really good. Then we started school. The first day was great, but then the rest of the week it kind of fell off. And then I did quite a bit more the second week. And then it definitely fell off for the rest of the month. And the reason is because my kids started getting up with an alarm clock. They decided they wanted to wake up early. Some of them will text their friends who are in public school while they're on the bus in the morning. They use that time to read their Bible and work on some of their passion projects. Jack has been working on a video game. Emma likes to write or just have some time to relax before she has to start school, or she'll go for a run. Lucy is the same way. She just likes to watch a show in the morning before she starts school. And so they've all been waking up really early. And that's great, and it doesn't bother me for them to wake up early. However, when people get up, I no longer can have that quiet time to really focus on the tasks that I have for my morning routine, because as soon as they come downstairs, I shift into mom mode. We sit and we chat in the morning. We have snuggles. I give them my full attention, and I put my stuff away so that they feel value in the morning and have a little bit of love breathed into them. That's just how it works in my family. That's what I enjoy doing. And it's harder for me to focus on some of the tasks that I have in the different tiers when my kids are awake. And that's just because that is what it is. So anything that I want to do in the morning needs to be done before 6:30. And I was doing okay. I was just getting up super early this week to make sure that I was getting stuff done. And then this week I didn't feel great. So I was waking up at like 6:15, and I just didn't have time to get anything done. And then this week I was recovering from not feeling great. And so I was still kind of not sleeping in. I was still getting up at like 5:30 or 6, but that just doesn't allow me enough time to start the stove, brush my teeth, get my coffee made, do my Bible, all of that stuff. So that is what it is. I'm hoping to work on my AM routine a little bit more this month, but I might have to readjust what I'm doing and kind of adjust those 3 tiers. They worked really well in the summer, fall, start of winter, and when we're on homeschool break, they work really well. Or if I wake up at an incredibly early hour, like 4:30, which I do quite often, then I have time to do all of the things. But if I don't wake up super, super early and I wake up at 5:30 or 6, there's just not enough time to do all of those things. So anyways, my 1 bag a day, I did pause. I started out the month really well, and then again kind of fell off as the month went on. And that is partly because these weeks we were home a lot and not doing other things. These weeks we were doing a lot more school or had a lot of errands to run. And so I have an alarm set for 1 o'clock, and it just was not happening. And this was actually, I was stopping to do my hobby at that time. And so at the beginning of the month, I was doing really good with my hobby stuff. And then I was kind of falling off. I will count reading if I sit down in the afternoon to read as part of my hobby, or if I'm knitting or doing a puzzle or something like that. Just something enjoyable is what that focus was. Okay, so now let's move into February. All right, so February, I really don't even know where to go with February. I have a few things that I want to do, and I just don't know if I need this break it down section right yet. I kind of do a little bit, I think. Here's the thing, okay? So we do have a week off in February from homeschool because we do a 6 weeks on, 1 week off schedule. So there will be a week where I am not going to be focusing on homeschool. I am going to be focusing on goals and home management projects and getting ready for another 6-week term of homeschool. So because of that, I do have that full week to work on a bunch of things. Now, oftentimes I will say, oh my gosh, I have all of this time. I can plan so many things to do. But I'm trying to not plan too many things so that I also have some time to rest as well. I think that's part of why I haven't done my goals yet, is because I know for the next couple of weeks, I really need to be focused on homeschool and finishing this 6-week term. And so that means I don't have a ton of time to do other things. We've had some activities on the weekends, so I don't have time on the weekends to do things over the next couple of weeks either. And so that kind of makes it like, well, why am I bothering to do my goals? Because I don't have any time to work on them, which is not a great plan, but that's just kind of how I've felt over the past, week or so, which is why I have not done my goals. So the first thing that I'm going to do is write down my decluttering, and that is the continuation of cultivating a life-giving home, continue to cultivate a life-giving home. This is a continuation of my goal from 2023. And decluttering is something that I've wanted to focus on the first quarter of the year. And I did do quite a bit last month. I do feel really good about all of the stuff that I got rid of last month, but I have not started some of the bigger projects that I want to when it comes to decluttering. And so that is going to be kind of a continuation again from January. Unfinished basement and finished basement. Now, I do not know how far I will get with this. The basement stuff, a lot of the finished basement is where I keep all of our homeschool stuff. And it's also the kids' den area where they play video games and watch movies and things like that. So there's some of the stuff needs to be done right at the end of the homeschool year, which is usually in June. I will be working through all of that, or May if we finish up on time. And I'm looking to start organizing next year's materials because I do tend to purchase them early. So unfinished basement, finished basement, I don't know how far I will get in those 2 projects, but I'm going to put them down, and I think because I have that week off, I will have more time to work on them. Now, the other part that is part of my decluttering is the master bedroom closet, which I have not done. I start going through it, but then I stop, and part of it is because I store a lot of my old planners and memory stuff up there, and because I haven't done the unfinished part of the basement where I store other like homeschool bins and memory bins, I haven't been able to kind of move things around. So this is kind of dependent on how much I get done in the unfinished basement, and I just haven't gotten there yet. The other thing that I want to work on is this 500 things to declutter right now. I got this from the Minimal Mom. Some of the members in my membership community have been working through these lists, and I thought that this would be really good to work through over the next couple of months. Now, do I think I will do every single thing on these lists? No. Are there a lot of things on these lists that are similar? Yes. And I think that's why it makes it a lot easier to do, because you're just picking one thing. It just makes it a little bit easier. So I'm going to put this down as well. And I will end up using this as part of this stuff, these projects, just depending on which area of my house I'm working on. And then the other thing that I want to do is my office closet. And this is one that I have done, I think, a couple of times each year over the past couple of years. And part of it is I just have a lot of supplies for my work in my office closet that I kind of want to get rid of or package some other way. I have a lot of baskets and bins that are empty in that closet as well. Things that we needed in our previous house because we had no closets in our previous house. So everything that we had to be on display, which is why I have so many baskets. I kind of need to consider whether to keep a lot of those baskets, to put them in a storage bin for the future. I hate to get rid of them because whenever I get rid of baskets and I'm like, oh, I wish I had a basket for this thing. So we will see. And then the other thing that I want to do is the upstairs bathroom. And that is just going through all of the makeup and the hair care products and all of the creams and facial things. It's me and Emma and Lucy, and we have a lot of stuff. So we need to get through a lot of that stuff. And so I would like to do that. So I have two other things that I want to focus on with regards to this continue to cultivate a life-giving home goal. The first is to do the February project with my membership community. So I'm doing it for my home and my family, but I'm also doing it as a part of my membership community. We're going through this life-giving home experience, and the life-giving home book that Sally Clarkson wrote in February is all about a culture of love, growing lifelong relationships. So I want to work on that. So I'm going to put that, how am I going to put that? Because it doesn't need a whole spot here. The other thing that I have is the weekly projects in the home planner. Now, if you saw my goals or any of my planner videos recently, you will know that I love all of the lists in this planner. I don't use it as an actual planner, but I do love all of the lists. And one of the things that I love are these weekly home projects. However, I have not been doing the weekly home projects at all. So I have all of the weekly home projects listed in my little common planner, my B6 common planner from Sterling Inc. And I want to do these projects during that week off, or perhaps over the next couple of weeks. I don't know how realistic that is, but I would like to kind of take a day, maybe on our screen-free day, where I try to do more reading and enjoyable things with the kids instead, spending some time doing some home management tasks. I might do that instead. Weekly home projects, and I don't have enough lines for every single one of them, but I will put them here. Fridge, freezer, big freezer. I'm adding a couple of different things as well, not just the ones that are right here. Kitchen, sink, organization, food storage, and cookbooks, spice cabinet, and junk drawer. So we don't actually have a junk drawer at the moment, so we sold the two armoires that were in our entryway, and one of those was a junk drawer, and now I just have a couple of boxes in my entryway closet. So I actually do need to put my entry closet again. Even though it was on there last month and I did quite a bit of cleanup from that, then when we sold the armoires, I made it a mess again. So those are the weekly home projects. Okay, the next thing is going to be part of my Create a Rhythm of Renewal goal. And that is going to be working on this routines workbook. And the routine that I've chosen is actually a communications routine. Now, I've heard Lakin from Plan with Lakin talk about a communication routine on her vlogs before, and she's done different videos about it. And I am thinking about it in relation to technology. She also thinks about it that way. It's kind of work related, but also just putting more boundaries in place for social media. I've talked a lot about social media in my videos over the past several weeks, months, probably. I feel like I've talked so much about technology recently. I don't necessarily like social media for personal things. Like, I don't know. It's really hard for me to describe it because I use social media a lot for my business, but I do definitely have times when I go onto Instagram Reels and just scroll through them. Mindless time. I kind of have that programmed into my day when I will take 30 minutes or an hour and just do that. I know that seems excessive, but that's just what I do. But I want to be really intentional about my technology usage and not always defaulting to that when I have free time. I think that what happens is one of the things that I'm focusing on in my goals for 2024 is to play more. And I almost have like a guilt feeling when I will stop and do something that I enjoy for myself. It's one of the reasons that the majority of my reading is done after my kids go to bed. It's one of the reasons that I don't sit down and watch a movie in the afternoon or knit all that often. It's because I feel like I should be doing something more productive because there should be, there's always things on a to-do list and I should be doing those things. But that's not real. That doesn't have to be the way that I feel. There's no reason that I cannot take time to enjoy myself throughout the day. And so instead of choosing something that I enjoy doing, like reading or doing a puzzle with the kids or even watching a show or a movie, I will default to scrolling on my phone because it gives me time to kind of mentally check out. And even though I know that I'm not being productive, it's almost more excusable for me to do that than it is for me to sit down and do a hobby. I don't know why. So my goal is to work through the routines workbook this month. I will be doing that in my membership community. If you're interested, you can certainly come over and check that out. I don't know how far I will get, and I already know the routine that I want to work on. So I know that I'm not going to fully implement the routine by the end of the month. My plan is to just get through all of this, all of these questions. And the way that I'm going to work these questions, I'm not going to answer them in this workbook, I don't think. I might, or I might do it in my goal journal instead, just so that I can reuse this at a later time. I guess I could still reuse it anyways. But I'm going to go into it thinking about creating this communications routine, this technology routine, how I'm going to use tech, when during my day I'm going to focus on specific tasks relating to work, relating to personal social media usage, and what is okay to continue to look at throughout. Anyways, I'm going to go through this with that communications routine in my mind. So I don't know. I think that when I went through this earlier, when I was talking about it in my membership community, I think that I said that I was going to start on page 19. I think what I will do is just go back and quickly go through all of the prompts from page 5 through page 17, just to get those down. There may be different questions. I have read through this, but I haven't done the questions. Let me see. What is realistic for this? I am just doing this. I'm putting these page numbers down so that I have specific parameters in place, instead of just trying to say, okay, well, I have this amount of time. What am I going to work on today? And just going until whenever. Okay, so what I'm doing is I've written the specific pages that I want to work on each of the 5 days that I'm planning on working on this routines workbook. And then I also want to just quickly go through the quick start guide. I have already highlighted a lot of things in this book, ideas and such. And so I just want to go through some of the habits surrounding some of the different categories in here, just to see what I may be able to pull for my specific routine. Okay, now the next thing that I have is my Pursuing Passions goal, which is also my homeschool related goal. And so I'm just going to put homeschool here, and we need to finish first 6 weeks, plan second 6 weeks. I have actually planned this semester, but really understanding what we're going to be working on in the next 6 weeks. We actually just started research projects this week, and that is going to probably go until the end of this second 6-week session. So I'm going to do that. Guess what I never did in January? The milk crates for the kids. They are still sitting in my office. Well, you can't see that I just pointed to them. I need to do these milk crates, and my life works so much better if I have all of that stuff put together in the dining room so the kids can just reach into their folder, grab the books that they need, instead of having them stacked on my desk or on the floor in my office. It just helps make my office not as messy. I also am starting planning for 2024-2025, and so I want to focus a little bit on that. Part of the reason that I do my planning so early is because a lot of the homeschool curriculum switches over at the end of March, beginning of April, and so they will have a lot of sales, and so I want to make sure that I am understanding what I need for next year, especially some of the more expensive things like the BJU Press courses, which are quite expensive but are incredibly valuable, especially for high school, foreign language and science. I think they're so worth the money for the content that you get. My dog is snoring. I apologize for that. Okay. And then I'm also going to just put a line right here. Sorry guys, she is really loud. I want to work on a fiction TBR. I did write quite a few books down, fiction books, mainly new releases that I wanted to read, mainly rereading Sarah J. Maas books in January, especially because of the third Crescent City book that came out January 30th. I did read all of Throne of Glass. I read House of Sky and Breath, and I did read the new Crescent City book, but I did not read ACOTAR all the way through, so I do want to continue that. I actually did finish ACOTAR yesterday, and I'm on ACOMAF now, but I do want to maybe branch away from Sarah J. Maas and into some fiction books that I have not read. So I want to work on that, and then I also want to think of some knitting projects. I'm still doing really easy stuff like scarves and rags and things like that, cotton dish rags, just so that I always have a list, and it is part of this Rhythms of Renewal goal as well. Permission to play. This is one of the things that I'm going to be focusing on this month. I'm sharing a lot more about this over in my membership community, but I am trying to work on this more, like I said. So even though it's also my homeschool goal, I'm trying to give myself permission because I try to foster my kids' passions, their passion projects, helping them find the tools that they need to make progress on those goals that they have. But I also want to live it out in my own life so that they know that it's okay when you're an adult to continue doing these things. It does not have to be work all of the time. And sometimes it's hard for me to, understand that. Okay, so I'm not doing all 6 goal break it down boxes this month, but these are the focus areas that I have. Again, I have had to kind of reconsider when I have homeschool, when I have weeks of homeschool, that is my focus. I am not spending a lot of time doing other things. In fact, I didn't even post videos most of last week because I just did not have time because we were homeschooling, and I've been going through homeschool transcript stuff. Emma and I have been looking at a lot of college things lately, and so it's taking up a lot of time. We finish our homeschool day, but then we have a lot of conversations about life in general and moving forward and stuff. So these are going to be my focus areas for February. A lot of this is going to be focused during that week off, so we will see how that goes. Now to work on the tending list. For my encouraging words, I will go with Just Keep Swimming by Dory, because that's kind of how I feel right now. And my priority is, I don't have one priority. I guess it would be declutter and organize and play. So not just decluttering and organizing, but also playing. All right, so for monthly action items, the first thing that has nothing to do with my goals, but I'm putting it on my list anyways because it's a lot of fun. So I will put it with the passion projects and family color. And that is the Super Bowl. I always do a ton of food on the Super Bowl. It's so much fun. My kids love football. None of us are happy about who's playing in the Super Bowl, but we are really excited about the food and the commercials. So Super Bowl. And the other thing that is also family color, my husband's birthday, and then Valentine's Day. Now, should I put all of these things on this monthly action items? Will I run out of space? It's a good possibility. All right, so other things. All right, so I am going to put declutter. No, that's not what I'm going to put. Sorry, guys. No, it's not going to work well with this tape. Okay, I am going to put homeschool break, and then I am going to put declutter. I'm going to put home management projects. That's good. I am going to put routines. Why am I doing that so far? Guys, don't be afraid to use whiteout. I use it all the time. Okay, routines workbook. My plan is to have videos of this go up in my membership community, so I will use my, even though I'm not using my Powersheets for goals this year, I do have them in a separate goal planner. This is actually my work planner, but I also have goal stuff in it. But last month I did not put any goal tasks on my tending list. I just had them in here. I need to put them on here. Even though I'm not using the prep work and stuff for in here for my work goals, there are still some tasks that I need to account for in here, because otherwise I get off track. So I'm going to put that, okay, routines workbook, and I want these videos to go up the week of the 19th through the 23rd. Okay, so I will have that there. One thing that I should have written under my homeschool break was second 6-week term, but I guess that's okay. All right, and so, sorry guys, I'm all over the place. I know that for declutter and weekly home projects, I didn't write anything additional. Those are just the two goals under my homeschool week off, but I am adding some of these things into my monthly tending list, my monthly actions, because they are really specific things that I need to do. Yes, I could just write homeschool, but I want to make sure that I am really on top of the homeschool planning. So I will do 2025 homeschool planning. We are trying to figure out if Emma is going to graduate in 2025 or if she is going to graduate in 2026. She technically will have all of the credits she needs. She only needs an English credit to graduate. There are some benefits about graduating in the year 2025 in the state of Maine. You get free community college if you want to do that. If you graduate in 2025 or 2024 or 2023, I think is what it is. But I also don't know if that is what she wants to do. She has talked a lot about starting her own business. That might be something that she works on over the next couple of years. Anyways, there's a lot to be thought of, and also figuring out what Jack is going to do next year as well. I definitely have some different things for him that are very different than Emma. When Emma was going into her sophomore year, she did classical literature, which she absolutely loves and I love. There's no way that I'm going to get Jack to get on board with a classical literature course. So I need to reconsider what I'm going to be doing for him. I may just do Brave Writer next year and not do any Sunlight language for Jack. We'll see. We'll see. All right, homeschool planning, second week term, and then I will put the milk crates here. No, you know what I'm going to do? I'm not going to put them here. That will be something that I do with the second week term planning. My idea is, as I'm pulling books, I'm just going to put them immediately into the milk crates. Sometimes I want to film these things, and so I put extra steps in so that I can film it, but maybe what I need to do is just do it and not think about putting a video up about it. Okay, so second week term milk crates, I want to work on my TBR, and I also need to write down my monthly reset day, which is I think the 29th of February. Monthly reset. Is there anything else that I need to write down? I don't think so. All right, so for my weekly action items / rhythms, weekly planning, I'm starting to get the hang of this planner. I feel much better about how I've been doing things lately with tape. It just, yeah. I'm starting to figure out how to use that common planner. I do wish that I had a larger version, and I actually went to the Sterling Ink website and saw that they have restocked, I believe, the A5 size. I'm obviously not going to purchase another one of these, but I was kind of bummed to see that they had restocked the A5 size, because I would much prefer just a little bit larger. I'd actually really prefer a B5 size. I don't know if that's ever going to happen. Maybe in the future. All right, weekly planning, homeschool planning, right. So I'm using my work color. Writing is something that I've been trying to do more, like I said, on my website. And it's been pretty much weekly, I think, that I've put up a new blog post, and I'm really processing through this rhythms of renewal. I've talked a lot about technology. It's really cathartic for me to just process through writing, so I'm really enjoying that. Okay, write, and then what is the other thing that I wanted on my weekly action items? Food prep. And this one, I think, is something that is going to take me a little while to figure out. I've been using the cookbook, what is it called? Cook Once, Eat All Week, I think is what it's called. I will leave a link for it in the description box. I am really bad at following recipes. I more look at cookbooks for inspiration, but some of the ideas where you like prep all of your ingredients at the beginning of the week, I do so much better with our meals when that is done. I'm not good at following a meal plan, but if I have like shredded chicken and cooked ground beef and vegetables cut up and cheese grated and things like that in the fridge, and I can just pull things out to make recipes, I do so much better. So I'm working on that more. It is something that I want to work on. It might be a routine that I work on maybe in March with that same routines workbook. And then and I also want to write spend tracking down, which is part of my nurturing finances goal, spend tracking. Then for the daily action items, I am going to write AM routine. I'm not going to write which tier. What I'm thinking about doing is kind of just seeing what I can get done before 6:30 in the morning, what time I have to wake up to really feel good about that and make sure that I'm waking up at that time. It's so funny because I have said this many times. I don't usually wake with an alarm. I do have an alarm set on my watch in case I am sleeping in. Oftentimes, I will just shut that alarm off at night saying, I'm giving myself permission to sleep in. And I wake up 2 minutes before that alarm would go off if it were on every single time. It's really frustrating, actually. But then on the days that I have the alarm on, or I will often wake up to that alarm and be groggy and not happy that my alarm has gone off. So we'll see. All right, so I'm going to just try and work on my AM routine and see what happens. I'm going to put 1 bag a day again because I'm really actually enjoying that process of just getting rid of stuff. And it doesn't have to be like a real big trash bag. It can be, one of those smaller grocery plastic bags or like one of the bags that you use for bathroom trash or whatnot. Mine are often large, but it's actually pretty fun to continue to go through and just get rid of stuff. And sometimes if I don't have a full bag, I will go into my office and just get rid of stuff. It's been motivating for me. Okay, AM routine. Then I want to also walk. And I have already missed a couple of days. And in fact, I may end up not counting the first 4 days of the month. I might just start on the 5th, go through the 3rd here. Maybe I will do that. I'm not sure. We'll see, because I am doing my monthly reset on the 29th, and that's when I will do my goals. I will not start goals on March 1st for March. I will most likely wait until the next Monday. That's kind of what I tend to do, I think. Okay. I want to read, and this does not mean read at any point in the day. This means read during like a hobby time in the afternoon or hobby. So it doesn't have to be, reading is a hobby, but if I'm doing something else, I will still give myself credit for that. I think that those are the only 4 habits that I'm going to work on. And they're not really even my AM routine. I am really good at tier 1. Again, like I said, so we'll figure out tiers 2 and 3 as we're going through the month. The 1 bag a day is something that I tend to do anyways, so it's kind of like a free one. And then walk, this one, it will definitely be more challenging, and this one will be a little bit more challenging. So maybe that's good. I think that will be good. Okay, so this is my month, my tending list for February, super late. If you have not done your tending list for February, that is totally okay. Just because you do something later in the month or not by the 1st, it doesn't mean that you can't still make progress. You could fill it out the last week of the month and just have one thing on your monthly action items and call it a win, because you're still making a little bit of progress. And I have to remember that sometimes. I didn't sit down to do this because my thoughts were just all over the place. I wasn't sure what I wanted to write down. And it's, when I'm not completely sure of what to do next, it makes it obviously more challenging. But I did sit down and kind of flesh out the ideas that I had in my goal notebook. When we had our co-working live stream last week, I just kind of brain dumped some of the things that were on my mind, and that gave me a little bit of clarity as to what I want to work on. I know that I have time this month during that week off to work on some projects. Will I get all of these things done? Probably not. Will I be able to get a lot of them done? Yes. The unfinished basement, finished basement, they won't be completely done. That is a project that will take me multiple days, and I wouldn't be able to do anything else during that time. Can I do some of the things now in February so that in March, when I have some more time, I will be able to do more decluttering in the basement? Absolutely. And like the weekly home projects, I don't have to wait until that week off to start these, and they don't have to be a weekly project. If I want to do, like, so for instance, they have fridge and freezer on different days, and so I could just do them on the same day. There's no reason that I can't do them on the same day. Same thing with my big freezer and understanding what we have in the freezer, kind of updating my food inventories, that kind of stuff. You don't have to do things exactly how they're written in specific planners or on specific routines or rhythms that you've seen on social media or that people have shared on YouTube or whatnot. You can do what works for you. And so sometimes I have to remember that. This month is a little bit different. I am hopeful that I will get a lot done. It doesn't seem like all that much, but I am really excited about the next few weeks. I'm definitely excited about our week off from homeschool. The kids have been working really hard. I feel like I've been working really hard, and we all deserve a little bit of a break. Yeah, so thank you guys so much for watching. I hope that you enjoyed this video. It was definitely chaotic, as most of my videos lately have been. I'm all about cultivating simplicity, but the path to simplicity is not easy. I have to say, there are a lot of choices that you have to make, a lot of kind of hoops you have to jump through in order to figure out what it means to you to cultivate simplicity in your home and homeschool. So I am just really sharing my process with you. So I hope that you did enjoy this video. I hope that it gave you a little bit of encouragement if you haven't set your tending list for February. If you have questions about anything that I chatted about, definitely let me know in the comments, or you can email me. My contact form is always in the description box. Again, if you want to come check out my membership community, I would love to have you over there. We have a great group of women all about supporting one another with home and homeschool and goals. So again, thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video, guys. Bye.